Vasudevaya Neyam Shobhishyate Tatra Yate Danim Gadadara Tvatpadair Ankita Bhati Svalakshana Vilakshitai. I'll do the word for word. Na, not. Iyam, this land of our kingdom. Shobhishyate, will appear beautiful. Tatra, then. Yata, as it is now. Idanim, how. Gadadara, O Krishna. Tvat, your. Padai, by the feet. Ankita, marked. Bhati, is dazzling. Svalakshana, your own marks. Vilakshitai, by the impressions. Translation. O Gadadara, Krishna, our kingdom is now being marked by the impressions of your feet, and therefore it appears beautiful. But when you leave, it will no longer be so. Purport. There are certain particular marks on the feet of the Lord which distinguish the Lord from others. The marks of a flag, thunderbolt, and instrument to drive an elephant, umbrella, lotus, disc, etc., are on the bottom of the Lord's feet. These marks are impressed upon the soft dust of the land where the Lord traverses. The land of Hastinapur was thus marked while Lord Sri Krishna was there with the Pandavas, and the kingdom of the Pandavas thus flourished by such auspicious signs. Kunti Devi pointed out these distinguished features and was afraid of ill luck in the absence of the Lord. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So these are still the continuation of Queen Kunti's prayers. Again, I would just like to apologize to everyone. I feel really bad to, be speaking and not have prepared anything, but luckily all the devotees are here and you all can also contribute something as you see fit. But yes, so the prayers of Queen Kunti are continuing, and she said, I'll just read the translation again. O Gadadara, Krishna, our kingdom is now being marked by the impressions of your feet, and therefore it appears beautiful. But when you leave, it will no longer be so. So Prabhupada, in the purport, he expands on the actual markings that are present on Lord Krishna's feet that are unique to the Lord. And these markings, he describes how these markings are impressed on the ground where the Lord traverses. And so simply by the Lord's feet being impressed onto that land has become sacred and holy. But if the Lord leaves from that place, then of course the impressions of his lotus feet will be wiped away. They will no longer be present. So Queen Kunti is petitioning Lord Krishna to please stay there. And this is actually just a very nice quality of the Vaishnava, that they see any place where Krishna is present, obviously, as a holy place. And actually they only see beauty where Krishna is present. And so from Kunti Devi's description here, it sounds as if she's expressing how this place is only beautiful because of you, Krishna. And so to any layman, to any normal person, they may look at that same place, whether Krishna is there or not, and they would see it as the same. But with in the case of a pure devotee like Queen Kunti, they can only see the beauty of a place because they see it in relation to Krishna. And so this is another very exalted quality of an elevated devotee who's able to see beauty only when it's in relation to Krishna. And just on a comment on the way in which Hastinapur is made glorious by Krishna's presence. Some of us are studying Bhagavad Gita, and in chapter 1, Dhritarashtra's he's asking Sanjaya what happened at the battle, what happened on the field of Kurukshetra when all of the Pandavas and Kauravas met there as they were about to fight. What did they do? And it's expressed in the commentary that the reason why he's asking is because he's concerned. And he's concerned because there's so many different indications that suggest that the Pandavas may be victorious. And if I'm not mistaken, one of the indications that the Pandavas will be victorious, obviously, the Kurukshetra field itself is holy, but also simply the presence of Krishna being there. By the presence of Krishna, that is, the strongest indicator that the Pandavas will succeed. So that's another situation where we see how the complete focus of the devotee on the Lord creates the auspicious atmosphere. So Kunti Devi is just expressing that while we have you here, this land is beautiful and everything is auspicious, but as soon as you leave, then there will be no good qualities. Just a personal note on this point, I was also just this morning from Sachinandan Maharaj's The Living Name book. One of the, if any of you have read it, basically it's a guide. It's meant to be used as like kind of a tool, and there are different stages of chanting that he goes through essentially. And I think it's the fourth stage is Vipralamba. And we know that Vipralamba is a mood that is often described in relation to the residents of Vrindavan, particularly the gopis, and it's a mood of separation. And in what I was reading today, Maharaj is describing how the mood of separation is it's very exalted, and it's very difficult it's something that can't be artificially invoked. But actually, I was particularly reading the exercise section of the chapter where he tries to suggest practical exercises. And in many of the previous chapters, he talks about very, I guess you could say, quote unquote, practical methods of bringing the mind under control, whether it's physical posture or mental exercises or breathing exercises. All of these are kind of, you could say, more mechanical. But when he gets to this topic of Vipralamba, he says that he only suggests a couple things, and then he concludes the chapter by saying that there's really not much quote unquote practical exercises that can be done to invoke this mood. He basically just suggests that one should try to chant while meditating on their spiritual master, and particularly while meditating on the mood of the spiritual master, because the idea is to try to invoke the mood of the spiritual master. And similarly, he suggests that we can also read and sing the songs of our Vaishnava acharyas, because by doing that, we get a sense of what the real mood of Vipralamba is. And by reading about the mood of Vipralamba and by witnessing that mood, then we can pray that can be invoked in our hearts to some extent, to whatever extent is possible. So I was just thinking about that, because even when we read about this type of mood that Queen Kunti has, where she's afraid of the separation that will be caused by Krishna leaving, This is Vipralamba. And the advantage of hearing these pastimes is that by continuously hearing about that mood of the pure devotees, then the effect will be that it will seep into our hearts without our realizing, so long as we continue to apply ourselves to it and hear it with intention. And with intention, meaning with the desire of trying to hopefully imbibe that mood one day. So that's all I have to share on this particular verse. It's very nice. I guess we're almost here towards the end of the Queen Kunti's prayers, but she's expressing her apprehension, I guess, about the upcoming departure of Krishna. So would anybody like to add any comments or any questions?
Hare Krishna, Mukunda.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
You please accept my humble obeisances all goes to Srila Prabhupada. It's very nice that you could relate with what you are reading at in Sachinandana Swami's book, and the mood of Vipralamba. That is that's and you are saying these same feelings could seep into our hearts. That is very, without our knowing, that is very nice. And it's very wonderful that you could relate with Maharaj's book and the chanting in that mood. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Even though without any preparation, you got the essence of the words. That's very nice. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. I also echo Mataji's what she said. You connected, the way Mother Kunti was expressing to Krishna. What is that feeling when the Lord leaves? It's no longer going to be beautiful, right? So it was nicely you connected with the holy name, right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Okay. I think any other final comments or questions? Otherwise, you can pause there.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. This is humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu, I was remembering Maharaj was describing about Akrura coming to Vrindavan.
Yeah.
When he saw the footsteps of Krishna, how emotional, how how eager he had become to see Krishna. So, in comparison to that, I can just imagine how Kunti Maharani would be feeling when, losing that, right? The footsteps and Krishna. The footsteps obviously being a representation. So, yeah, just that. I just wanted to share that. If we have at any point of the opportunity to see the footsteps of Krishna, I can just imagine how it'll be. How I don't even have the words to to describe how exhilarating it'll be to see.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Mataji. Of course, the mood, the pastime of Akrura visiting Vrindavan is like so beautiful, and thank you for reminding us about that. I was also just reading with a group yesterday. We were reading in Bhagavad Gita chapter 10 in text number 10, in the purport, Prabhupada says a statement, something to the effect of, if one applies themselves, well, first of all, he says that one may have a guru and one may be part of a spiritual institution, but unless one applies their intelligence to essentially fully worshiping Krishna, then you won't see any reciprocation. And so that statement, we spent a lot of time trying to like break down what that statement meant. And I was just thinking about that because when we're thinking about these devotees, they had the opportunity to, you know, either see maybe like Krishna's footprint or have some type of interaction with Krishna directly. Of course, that's through their auspicious nature qualities. But for us, we should, the only way that we will ever get to that point is if we keep applying ourselves to aspire for that. And I guess the pitfall of devotional life is to, I guess, I don't know if this phrasing is correct, but like to sell yourself short, meaning essentially to give up, because the only way that we'll see a result is by continually pushing forward. And it's not something, it can't be compared to something that any other type of material endeavor that we usually make. It's not like, okay, if I go to school for 4 years, then I get the college degree. But it's not the same as, okay, if I practice Krishna consciousness for 4 years, then this is the measurable result that I should see. It's completely different. And it's completely based on our mood of surrender and the full application of our intelligence towards hearing about Krishna's pastimes and names and qualities. So we have to keep pushing.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you. Any final question or comments?
You're on mute, Prabhu.
Oh, Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I think there's no other comments or questions, but I just wanted to apologize again to all the devotees. It's really not appropriate to take everyone's time without me having properly prepared. But thank you all for joining and participating. So thank you again. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.